very, the longer periods of practice are very valuable, I think. It's okay to fit it in, like I've only got this amount of time, but when we have some really unstructured time, this is where people can really discover the terrain more. Okay. Hey, Felipe, should we all go to Brazil? Look how warm it is there. Okay. We're going to start by sitting. We're going to start for about, I don't know, 12 minutes, some 13 minutes, something like that of sitting, just to get us going. Hey, let's do some warm up. Great to have you here. Do the knees again. Really simple. Just gently warming up the knees. Changing direction. And hip circles. Let's let the head move around this time and maybe focusing a little bit on Mingmon or the Koshi. So kind of lower back, just letting that kind of open up, releasing, releasing. Again, finding the ground and using the ground, leaning into the ground to move. So I'm moving my hips, but I'm leaning into the ground. I'm using the ground to move from. Changing direction. Heavy elbows. Let's roll the wrists in. Rolling the wrists in. Releasing. Releasing. Anywhere my body feels stretched, taut, I'm releasing. I'm releasing wherever the body feels like it's extreme or hard edged. I'm softening there. What do I mean by that? Like, if there's anywhere in your body that feels like it's pulled tight like this, slack it wherever that is. Maybe it's the base of the skull, maybe it's the spine. Let your body go into neutral, into slack, rolling the wrists in and then rolling them out. And I'm using the ground. Again, I'm leaning into the ground to make the movement happen. My elbows are heavy. My elbows are heavy. Whole bodies moving, whole bodies expressing. Heavy hands. Let's let our arms swing left and right. And just let the whole middle of the body release. Release, 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 release. Release, release. Is that Danny with us? Who's with us? Okay, and then front to back. Release, release, release. Why am I gripping there? Could I release more? Could I release? Is there a place in my body that, it's unconsciously gripping all the time? And how about reaching, reaching, reaching from the ground, reaching, reaching, reaching. I'm sinking into one leg and I'm raising the opposite arm, sinking into one leg and raising the opposite arm. Right? And our windmills, windmills, windmills. Going the other way. Great, great, great. And coming back. Go into Wuji. I'm not leaning forward. I'm not leaning back. I'm not leaning to the side. What do? Just find that pure vertical, stand in neutral. This is maybe disorienting. I'm not leaning on my structure. Softening through the qua, where the thighs meet the pelvis, softening, releasing. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. Anywhere my body's gripping, unconsciously, maybe some kind of amnesia. Could I use all of this just to see, do I need to do that? Could I release? Could I release? Let's go. I think just keeping it simple right now. Let's sink again, sink down like we're sitting down on a yoga ball. And again, let's hug the tree, keeping it simple, hugging the tree. Want your hands to be alive, not just like dead fish, alive hands, not angry hands. And again, so the middle finger would point at the other middle finger. Okay. And my thumbs are not hitchhiking, but they're buoyant, like they're kind of riding on this cylinder of light, this tree trunk. Okay. And if my thumbs came back, they'd be inside of the tree. So that doesn't work. So we're hugging this tree. And then you want to feel a sense of from the ground through the tendon, and a little sense of I'm full in my hands and I'm full in my lower back. Full, full. The posture should be natural. We don't want our elbows straight out. We don't want them dropped. Totally. There's a sweet spot there. And I want to find a scaffolding of support, an inner scaffolding of support to the ground. This should be natural, more and more natural, not like, you should feel more and more like, oh, this posture makes sense. This posture is helpful, not like more robotic, more of a statue. Don't control the breath. Why don't we control the breath? Because as the energy starts to open in the body, the energy and the breath start to unify. And if we're putting a breath on there, we're getting in the way of this energetic opening. Make sure your feet are under you. A lot of times you'll be doing the stance and then you look, maybe you look in the mirror, you see that one leg has started to kind of sneak out the door. Keep it under you. Make sure your legs are under you. You want your lower body to support your upper body. This is we're doing about 10 minutes in this posture. Okay, so obviously if you hit your limit, go back to Wuji, that's okay. And I also maybe pace yourself. Like some of us, we're kind of geared to sprint. Like I'll just do this real hard and I'll quickly get it over with. Well, we can't do that with this. We've got to kind of jog it out. We've got to stay open. We've got to be patient. I'm kind of a sprinter. I was a sprinter, and so I had to learn to try to be more and more and more patient. What if you're there and then, like, say your neck or your shoulders start to kind of come alive and they start to light up, and then you kind of go, oh, I'm supposed to be focusing on the lower body. I'm supposed to be focusing on the tendon, and my upper body is just totally activating. It may be that that all needs to light up. It all needs to express to release into the hands. So we're not here like blocking that or deadening that. People really feel that way, like I can't let anything happen in the upper body here, but it might have to just fully be wide open. Is there a um, a sweet spot here where if I reach a little bit more, my whole structure kind of locks up. And if I'm not reaching enough, then I don't feel my system engage. There's a real delicate, beautiful area here where I can engage. I feel my whole system activating. We're looking for that sweet spot where, oh, I feel like I can address something that's deep in there. Few more minutes. A lot of us have these kind of glamorous ideas of spirituality, kind of, it'll just be so beautiful. It'll be so, you know, it'll just be this wonderful process. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of real blue collar. Okay, day in and day out, blue collar. Minutes. Yeah, if you hit your limit, going back to Wuji. If you're new or if you're, yeah, go back to Wuji. That's okay. No need to be a hero. Boom. Go back down. Go back into Wuji. Maybe the structure feels expansive in some way. Maybe you don't understand, like there's space in the body that you didn't create. Let me do a little bit of movement. Taking my hands out in front of the belly. Again, there's a sweet spot here where my whole body feels like this amoeba that's just full. If I push it a little bit too much, my structure starts to tighten up, but I'm staying neutral, staying soft. And let's feel that ball. We're holding this ball or a balloon, if you like, and we're not crushing it. We're not dropping it, but we don't need force to hold it. Let's take that ball around in a circle around our body. I'm staying upright. I'm staying in this central channel as I move around. And it's like that ball just keeps going around the back, and then you just catch it over here. And maybe your arms are just resting on the surface of water. And you're just, it's like a whirlpool. That whirlpool just goes around the body. My elbows are heavy. Releasing. If you feel yourself being dragged down as you move, find a way internally to release. Like maybe your arms moving kind of drags you down. Now go the other way. This is your laboratory to feel what's going on. What's really going on here? If I go too fast, I can kind of go past it. I can start to create a pressure cooker feeling. But if I meet it, oh, I'm with it. I can feel it. I can work with it. Coming back. How about we take, my feet are parallel, and I'm just gonna rotate that. So my left one is a little bit forward here, okay? So I really am just parallel, but my feet turn 45 degrees. And from here, I'm holding that ball and I'm taking that ball up. I'm in my back leg, my right leg, up, out, down, and back. And let's stay neutral with the movement. Stay in the tandem. Don't overextend your structure and stay soft. Up, out, down, and back. So it's like you're not diving out to make the movement, you're letting the tandem take the hands and extend them. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. It's a whole body movement. It's not just an upper body movement. Your whole body's involved. Sinking, sitting down on that ball, sitting in your legs, sinking in the legs. Changing direction, going down, out, up, and back. Changing position just to illustrate it. So I just turned a little bit just to have people be able to see it. Really simple. Find the pace that works for you. Release. If you're doing these movements and you start to get frustrated, your body starts to lock up, change the pace. Find the pace that works for your system. Great, and then changing and going, now my left leg is the back leg, my right leg is front, and I'm coming up, down, and back. And I want to stay in the ground the whole time, so I want to feel like I'm leaning into the ground the whole time. Even when I change legs, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground. Even when I lean my weight onto my front leg, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground, I'm in the ground. If you leave the ground, that's where your pelvis is locked up. Oh, I didn't feel quite as connected there. That's because your pelvis is a little bit sticky there. And change in direction, down, out, up, and back. We start to feel the energy, and then, we kind of go at a certain point, go, am I meeting this energy or am I missing it? Oh, I can meet it. I can meet it all the time. Eight, eight, and coming back, holding the ball out in front. We're holding this ball. Should feel alive. Release the body so the ball feels alive. Wherever I'm gripping, I'm kind of blocking that. Now, let's work on compressing into the ground and expanding. So I'm holding this ball and I'm going to just sink into the ground, and I'm just slightly medially rotating my feet, and my knees are slightly medially rotating, and I'm compressing into the ground. And then from there, I'm going to open that ball up, and my legs are slightly turning out, and my knees are slightly turning out. And I'm opening that ball. It doesn't have to be a big movement. And let's just do some of those. So I'm compressing and closing that ball down. And then I'm opening the ball and expanding. Hey, Michael. So it's a whole body movement. A little bit bigger each time. Then let's make the ball a little bit A little bit smaller each time, not quite as big each time coming back. But don't rush it. Maybe even people get a little bit tired, like I'm getting fatigued, even though this movement's really simple. Deep in the body starts to, we're going deeper into the body. We're intrinsic for this movement and maybe not used to being used, this deeper intrinsic aspects of the body. And just noticing how the tendon is involved. Those who've been doing this a while notice how the tendon's involved. Slowly coming back, holding the ball. Let's do another stance here, putting the hands out in front of the belly like we're standing in a lake. I want to find that vertical line and release into that. I'm standing in, so I'm standing in a lake. Okay. If you don't feel good front to back, if you feel like you've got to lean here, you've got to lean there, could you release your structure? Maybe you've got to lean on your heels a little bit or your toes a little bit, and then your structure can let go. So be creative with it. Find that where your system can balance in space. Release, release. A little more advanced posture here now. I'm going to turn my legs so they're parallel, pointing forward. I'm turning them to the left, and I'm sinking, sitting down. I'm more on my back leg. I'm more about 70% on that back leg. And then my hands are still out. And it's like I'm riding the tiger. And I'm looking out. As I'm riding this tiger, I'm looking where we're going here. Keep your knees safe. Keep your knees over your feet. Release the structure. Don't hurt yourself. If you're not ready, go back to Wuji. That's okay. Or go back to standing in the lake. If it's not hard at all, you gotta sink more. If you're kind of like, I don't know what they're doing, I don't feel anything, you gotta sink more. Should feel it in your legs. You should feel it in your legs. Right? Coming back and turning the other way and pouring the weight more into that back leg, about 70% in that back leg, maybe even more. We're riding the tiger. Your knee is over your foot, so you're safe. If the posture feels really unnatural, is there a way that your body could find a natural way to do it? Like, oh, my structure, I don't really know how to do it, but my structure will want to find harmony and gravity. And it will slowly show you. We just have to be open to it showing us. Obviously keeping the knee safe, but letting the structure show us how to make it natural. You've got to let the body open up from the inside out. This is a more advanced posture. So beginners, it's okay if you just go back to Wuji. That's just fine. This is a more advanced posture. It's also okay if you shake like crazy. Why am I shaking? It's a good sign. Right, right, and coming back to Wuji, just releasing completely. Again, maybe you don't even notice it, but why am I taller? What? Like my structure is lengthening. There's space in there. Maybe you don't even know what to do with it. Oh, I feel taller. You're not doing it. It's the structure is trying to do that. The energy, the tendon is filling the body. Okay, let's take a quick bathroom break. As you walk to the bathroom or whatever you do, maybe you could just try to stay with it, stay connected. Don't just drop everything as you go. Try to stay interested, stay with it. Okay, be right back. 5 minutes. So now we're going to go into the non-directed for a chunk of time, like 40 minutes. Okay, and let's take off um our practice hat. Let's take off our whatever gaining, whatever we're trying to make happen, whatever idea we have practice, let's take that off. Whatever assumption we have about in order for for me to open up or for this big process to happen, I've got to do these things. Let's try to let go of that. Maybe just being profoundly honest, exactly feeling exactly what you're feeling. Maybe that's the route. Like, I think a lot of us really fundamentally don't believe that what I'm feeling is okay or is the way for me to open up. We've got to do something else. And so just taking this time to be completely honest, like even if you gave in so much that you felt like you were to drop on the floor, what if something caught you? What if something caught you when you totally gave in? So it's okay here if your body starts to move in some way. It's okay if you end up on the ground, if you end up emotional, or it's also okay if you have no clue what's going on and you're just standing there clueless. That's okay. It's okay if nothing happens for a long time. Okay. And it's okay if you have big dynamic movements. That's okay. But I wouldn't create them. This is a big thing. A lot of movement people, they'll start to create movements. That's their go-to. And I would recommend against that. Try to just wait for the movement to emerge. And if you're wondering, am I doing this? I would just stop and see if your structure isn't, there's a deeper process there trying to happen. So this is your time. If you're new to this and maybe you're wondering about what other people are doing, I'd close your eyes at first so you're not looking around. And so just standing there, and if your body starts to move in some way, or if not, just let it. Don't edit it. Just let your body take over for a few minutes. This will be difficult for those wanting direction, wanting structure. We're throwing that out for a little while. What do we do when we're feeling something, whatever we're feeling? What do we do to avoid it or check out? What do we do? I'm not feeling good. I'm afraid. So I try to fix myself, or I try to improve myself. I fantasize. I whatever, check my phone, whatever, watch Netflix, whatever. I don't feel good. So instead of feeling, I go somewhere else. What if, just for this amount of time, if I just honestly felt what was happening? I'm just going to take time and feel it. Maybe you get a little idea of what you want to happen. I would be really cautious of that. Like, well, I really would like to work on this today. I'd be really careful about that. Don't get a little strategy going. Try to drop your strategy. The wildest thing for me was that I discovered when I was just with what was happening. I was honestly feeling it. That's where the huge energy was. That's where the huge energy is. What's it like? It's like being in your kitchen and you're too busy. So you stop, you stop, and then you start to hear the refrigerator running and the clock ticking, like you couldn't hear those before. And then you stand here and you stop, stop, stop. And then, oh, there's a gear of opening that's there that I couldn't feel. Because I couldn't feel, I just added a bunch of shit on top of it constantly. Very creative process. Maybe you always do this. You always do this. What if you didn't do that this time? Like whatever you do with yourself, however you hold yourself, this is what I do. Well, maybe you didn't do that this time. What would that be like? What would it be to creatively change the way you're relating with space, with your body, with your mind? And you got to take a chance and let go of control. Maybe that looks totally different than what you imagined, and yet maybe there'll be a joy that will emerge out of that that you never imagined was there. What are you feeling right now? Maybe there's a level that you can just hang out at that's pretty comfortable, pretty relaxed. I can kind of hang out here and I can stand here. I'm pretty good, but it doesn't quite feel satisfying. There's something about it. It doesn't, I don't feel really connected. A lot of people just hang out there for 30 years. They don't really go deeper. But maybe if they get really curious, oh, I think there's something going on here. What's really going on if I look a little bit closer? If I get more honest, I see there's another level of something happening. And I'm when I feel it, when I give myself to it, my whole system just every cell lights up, even though it might be completely scary. Takes a couple of years for people to really be able to feel that consistently, and then they're doing real zazen or real meditation. Until then, they can't really do it. How am I relating to the room? Maybe my body's in a little holding pattern I can't seem to get out of. So maybe I feel the room. I feel the environment, and I see, how could I become transparent to the room? How could I let the room penetrate me? Does that have a feeling? Does the room have a feeling that I could become permeable to? What would that feel like? You're not feeling inner movement in your system, if you don't feel inner, some movement happening in your system, I would just look, are you blocking movement? Are you there thinking I'm letting go, but actually, are you in front of that blocking it? Maybe it's a direction, maybe it's trying to open and you're there blocking it, thinking you're doing it. I've got to think differently. Let the door open. Maybe it's a pull door. We think it's a push door and it's a pull door. Get out of the way. This is your time. It's your experience. Okay if you're emotional. It's okay if you're just bearing all to my experience. That's emotional at times. If you don't ever have that, I wonder, it's gonna be emotional at times. I was sitting all those hours, I was working so hard, I was trying so hard, and at a certain point I saw the universe is doing this. It's not even about me. I just have to get out of the way. I can still be this, you know, idiot. It's not, Prajna comes out of the universe doing it. It's not about me. What a relief. I don't have to be the one who's brilliant. It's something bigger is there. If that doesn't crack open your heart, it's just like that. What a relief. More minutes. Don't check out. Try to stay with it. After a certain amount of time, we've been standing a while, things start to bubble up, which they're able to process. So don't check out now. Don't leave us. Stay with us. You've got to suspend disbelief and just feel what's going on. Try to suspend disbelief. It's our ideas that kind of get in the way of maybe the body trying to open up. And of course, remember that all of the Jamdong postures came out of the non-directed. They emerged out of the central channel trying to open. Although I'm kind of in the midst of something, let's let's go for a little sitting to round this out, to bookend this. I'm gonna give a little bow and let's do a little sitting to finish up today. Again, am I being real with what's happening, or am I just floating along in this stream of kind of relaxed babble? Or am I deeply curious what's actually happening? Am I being real with what's actually happening? You can just float along, half checked out. Okay, hey, thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna give a little bow. Um, please, questions, comments, observations, insights, all that, whatever you want to throw out there to the group. Agony. Hmm. Dive in. If you have something you want to say, please go for it.
I'll share a bit. So this practice reminds me of like when I started doing sitting meditation. And there's always that like, I remember like this 3-month gap where it's like, okay, like I've committed to do this. And it's like, there's days you don't want to do it. And I think learning the standing has been very similar. And there's days where it's like, get home from work, like, oh, gotta do this now. I told myself I'd do it. It's my practice period intention. I'm going to do it. And this last week has been sort of a shift of like really seeing weird stuff happening, like old injury sites, like sort of behind the shoulder blades and the spine, like all day since yesterday during the standing, just feeling this all just this tension. And you had the taut towel. You're telling us to relax it, Corey. I was like, I don't know how to do any of that with this thing. But you know, especially during the sitting, really wondering as it's been there all through the non-directed, like how is this sort of connected to the whole operation that's happening, to the ground, to gravity, to the tanden. So, you know, today definitely like ooh, this is like a long haul practice that I can do, you know, for the rest of my days. So yeah, just really, really grateful for all that. So yeah, thanks.
Love it. Thank you. Love it. Yeah, like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna release this, but I can't even feel the terrain. How do I even, it's like the terrain is so, I can't even touch it. So I see, oh, like I see this is a deep process. I can more and more and more deeply feel what's going on and let that come through. And man, so I think yeah, I think it can be that people they're sincere and they're doing their practice and they're trying and but they haven't really gone into that terrain, that deep terrain that's actually happening there. They can kind of float along. And I think this stuff, it shows us, oh, and for some of us, it's so loud that okay, I have to look at this. I have to look at it. I can't. And so then, oh, I'm in this deep process of learning to feel that. And I think that does become louder as you get into it. You see, oh, this is necessity. I've got to do this. I can feel this all day long. I can feel this process happening, and I'm on the bus, and I can feel it all happening. And so, yeah, deep process, deep world. You know. No, thanks so much, everybody. And I think there's something about like where where we kind of go, oh, there's practice, and then there's my life. And um, actually, I'm not really doing practice. I'm just trying to exist in space. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to and die in that. And there's something where practice, like you said, at first you're like, oh, I got practice, but then at a certain point you're just like, well, I'm existing. How do I exist in space? How do I explore through space right now? All the time. And you see when you're not doing it, things don't feel good and all that. Anybody else? No, thanks so much. Anybody else want to chime in?
I just want to say it was just really quiet today inside, and I mean, I wasn't here for most of it, and you're jumping into the non-directed without anything coming in, um, and like there's just some stories today in my life that I just did not want to let go of for this amount of time, and finally, some of those sort of found their way down. Um, yeah, but just like it's sort of quiet and soft and like the inner terrain was like a couch, like a leather couch kind of.
That Danny?
Hey, hi, Danny.
Hi,
Really nice having you here today. That felt really nice having you here. Thank you.
thank you. I just cry.
Really, I
Yeah.
love, I love it.
She told me to ask you why did she cry? I said, well, that I don't think he'll know the answer, but I'll ask him. But anyway, she said she finished a lot better. It was good for her to push through. It was a little bit more time than she used to.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's getting better. Anyway,
it's good. It's good. The crying's good. It's good. Cracking open this these shells. And yep, it's good. If people do this practice and they don't cry or they don't have emotions, they don't have big things coming through at times, man, I don't know. I think gotta check it a little bit here because this stuff will crack you open, and I think will be very emotional at times. I mean, I just I so many times I'm, this stuff is reading Hakuin Zenji's Song of Zazen and bawling my eyes out in the morning and in the monastery because of all this coming through, and it's so beautiful. So I hope that people allow themselves to let go and to to break open in that way. Anybody else?
I can chime in a little bit. It was like 20, for the first 20 or 30 minutes of the non-directed, it was like so much angst. It's like, oh, my face was scrunching up and it felt like I knew I needed to feel it. And then there came a point where it's like, okay, I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it. How do I shift it? How can I change how I'm relating to it? And then just like a few shoulder rolls came out of that. And then I felt the opening like, through my legs and my calves, my ankles. It was, wow. And it wasn't a big movement at all. It was way smaller than what I do in the warm-ups. And then after that, the angst went away for a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, cool, but what do I do now?" And and it was confusing because it was a lot quieter. It was much less exciting. Um,
All right.
yeah,
I totally get what you're saying, right? Like, wait, aren't I just this? Isn't that what I am? This is how I feel all the time. When that changes, what do I do? Love it.
yeah.
I know, right. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. And the weird thing is that like neutral, like deeply letting go. Actually, that's where the big energy is. But we kind of we like this this friction, this excitement there is we kind of like get into that, and that I feel that. And so it's actually really difficult for people to let go into this unknown and to like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I am. And that's actually where this big energy is, that big process is. So it's not like maybe we people end up kind of they end up in that comfortable place of that friction. Oh, I feel myself, I can be defined in that. And that's really interesting too, kind of get a little caught in that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, cool. Love it. Hey, thanks so much, everybody. I guess I gotta go to what do I have? There's some tree lighting thing down in town today I have to run off to. So I'm running off to that. I'll see you later. Thank you so much, everybody. See ya. Great to have you here.